Hello, and welcome to coverage of the Custom Standard League. This is our first league for the Secrets of the River Cities season, and as such, it's going to be really interesting to see what new brews people have come up with. So, I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be spectating the match between Superrandomname and Cftsoc. Superrandomname, as far as I know, has been practicing with MonoRed Aggro, while Cftsoc I know is somewhat of a brewer, so I'm excited to see if there's some sort of new and exciting deck at his fingertips. And yep, it seems like Superrandomname is still on MonoRed Aggro, going to open up turn 1 with a Conan War Driver. Cftsoc, meanwhile, is going to play a Fangmarked Cave turn 1 and pass. While Fangmarked Cave is an incredibly powerful card, having to pay 8 life to flip it makes it basically unplayable in this matchup. So turn 2, going to play the Minister of Zealots, gets a Cleric token off of it, so swings for 3 turn 2. Unfortunately, because of Minister of Zealots' ability, the Cleric dies at end of turn, but getting an extra 1 in is still pretty strong. And Cftsoc going turn 2 into a Corporate Confidant. This at least can trade with the Conan War Driver or the Minister of Zealots if for some reason Superrandomname attacks in with that. But its aggressive body is not going to be super great in this matchup. Oh, and has a second Minister of Zealots plus a Mecha Firestoker. So it's going to swing in with everything for a whopping 8 damage. I think if you're Zerapath, if you're Cftsoc here, you just trade the Corporate Confidant for the Minister of Zealots, but still eat 6. And while MonoBlack does have good wipes, oh, and Cftsoc stuck on 2 lands. I was just about to say, they're all 3 mana plus. Like, Vibrant Raptor is essentially 3 plus. Imperial Brutality is just 3. Yeah, if Cftsoc doesn't have them and doesn't get to 3 mana, this is going to be a problem. Okay, so Superrandomname is going to play a hired hit to kill the Corporate Confidant, uploading a Shala Na from his hand. Yeah, it doesn't have the 4 mana to cast it. And then he's just going to swing in for 7. This leaves Cftsoc dead next turn, and I think the only thing that saves him is the Imperial Brutality, if he has it. And apparently doesn't have it. Just concedes. We're going to game 2. And that's the power of MonoRed Aggro. It just curves out like crazy, and if you don't have the wipe, you just lose the game. It's a very binary matchup. Especially so when they have Unproven Hatchling, which is likely the best card in the deck. Interestingly, I think MonoRed Aggro is probably the deck that, on one hand, it gets a lot of mileage out of new cards like Vigilante Firebug and some of the new burn spells, but also it almost doesn't change at all from previous rotations. It's a very linear deck, and I think as a result, the cards that have made it good keep it good, and it has very little wiggle room to change. And because Unproven Hatchling and the other prestige cards push it to be so creature focused, I think that lots of the cards from Secrets of the River Cities, which are more focused on like burn-based and spell-based aggro, don't really slot into our current definition of MonoRed Aggro, and it will probably spawn their own new archetype of like a burn-based aggro deck. Okay, going into game 2, Cftsoc opening up turn 1 with the Blackwatch Ace. Oh, so I guess Cftsoc definitely doesn't have wipes. I just assumed that, because it's very rare to see like mono-black aggressive decks in this format just because of how good mono-red is. But it looks like that is what Cftsoc is doing, is playing mono-black aggro. So it's going to curve the Blackwatch Ace into a Nameless Throng, and then Superrandomname is going to hired hit the Nameless Throng though. But hey, if Cftsoc has a way to like proc the Nameless Throng's return ability, could just run could run Superrandomname out of the game with this recursion. But now Random is going to put on some of the beats of his own. Minister of Zealot's going to swing in for 1 with the Cleric token. And does Cftsoc have the Phantom Walker for the Blackwatch Ace? Or is this just going to be another Corporate Confidant? There it is. It does have the Phantom Walker. And Blackwatch Ace becomes a 3-1. I think you actually don't attack here Because if you're super random name, I think at this point you are more than willing to trade the Black Watch Ace for the Minister of Zealots in order to avoid the Phantom Walker coming down. But yeah, so isn't going to attack with the Black Watch Ace. And then next turn can use that newly beefed up 3 power to crew the Phantom Walker. And that puts on a quicker clock than most of what Super Random can do. Without an unproven hatchling curve out, I think it's going to be difficult. Ooh, but does have the shock, is going to kill the Black Watch Ace. But in response, Cftsoc just going to crew the Phantom Walker so that Super Random can't just attack in willy-nilly with the clerics and such. And has a second Minister of Zealots, so will at least get to poke in for 1 damage with this cleric. Oh, but isn't actually attacking with them. I guess it wants to keep them alive because they don't get sacrificed at end of turn because Super Random Name did play the shock this turn. And also importantly, if Cftsoc chooses to crew the Phantom Walker by using its alt cost of exiling 2 creature cards, the clerics can act as blockers for the Phantom Walker. Oh, but there's another 3 power creature for Cftsoc. So we'll just be able to use the regular crewing cost. But isn't going to do it? Oh, I think that's a mistake by Cftsoc, honestly. Because I feel like, I guess Cftsoc just banking on Super Random Name having to sacrifice the clerics at end of turn anyways. But I feel like you do want to start putting on pressure with the Phantom Walker. So it's going to attack in with everything. In response, Cftsoc probably going to crew the Phantom Walker and block the Minister of Zealots. Or is he scared of another burn spell coming out? Because a hired hit or a shock here will kill the Phantom Walker. So it really comes down to whether Super Random Name is bluffing. Oh, but Cftsoc just going to hard trade the Corporate Confidant for the Minister of Zealots. Phantom Walker is the most important card to him. And just going to eat 7 from the Clerics plus Minister of Zealots. And it looks like it wasn't a bluff. Did have the Sandscald to be able to kill the Phantom Walker. Instead, it's just going to poke it at face, and once again, the clerics stick around. And Cftsoc once more pulling out the Fangmart Cave. Yeah, that is not useful in this meta. Or not this meta, but this matchup. And then just has to pass? And once again, Super Random is going to get in, at least 5 damage here. So if Super Random Name has another Sandscald, Cftsoc just loses here. Okay, doesn't have a Sandscald. Does have a Seratu Flamebinder, though, which provides some really good reach for Super Random Name here. So I'm just going to swing in with everything. Cftsoc has to crew the Phantom Walker for its alt cost and then block the Minister. Yep, is going to bring back the Nameless Throng using its alt cost ability, exiling Corporate Confidant, and then going to crew Phantom Walker that way. And then we'll still take 5 from the... I was going to block a Cleric instead of the Minister? I guess this loses to Hired Hit and not Shock, is Cftsoc thought. So you're at risk of getting hit by less things. But I don't know how I feel about this. And then gets to draw a card off of the... gets to draw a card off the Seratu Flamebinder. But yeah, now, taking that 1 more damage made it so that Hired Hit was able to kill Cftsoc because he went down 6 life from 9 to 3 rather than from 9 to 4. That was the perfect Hired Hit damage. And yeah, that was just, Super Random Name is saying, that was a pretty crazy curve out for Super Random on both accounts. And I guess there is more of a spells theme to Super Random's deck because of the Minister of Zealots just coming in clutch with all of those cleric tokens. But yeah, and I think it's also interesting to see new variations on aggro, especially because the main way that people have been doing aggro recently is MonoRed, despite being very strong, I think has not been played very much just because it's such a binary deck. So it's interesting to see people trying other variations like Cftsoc MonoBlack. And I think that with the tools that SRC brings in with its crimes mechanic, we'll definitely see a lot of innovation on the aggro archetype. But yeah, until next time, this is Caillou signing off.